So let's take a look at how the teams line up for Perth. It is no changes whatsoever. Not to the starters, not to the bench. It means Tom Lawrence holds his spot in the 11. Adam Taggart, getting over a heel injury, continues to start as well. And also Trent Osler is preferred as the team's right back. Sharvil Shamoon coming off a first A-League goal last weekend. Nicholas Pennington, in spite of scoring in consecutive games, can't break into the Perth starters. There is Tom Lawrence, the 23-cap Welshman, who was most recently at Glasgow Rangers before making the move to Australia, has been working his way into the season. How different our perceptions of Perth may have been had he landed ready to go from round one, because the skill and quality that he has shown so far in the minutes we've seen him has been seemingly at a different level, already prompting comparisons to the likes of Joe Lolly as one of the top-tier players in the competition. Let's take a look at the Western Sydney Wanderers. They have one forced change with Alex Gersbach out with a hamstring injury. Gabriel Kleur slots in to the defensive line. And the other changes take place on the bench. We could be seeing Mo Altay for the first time this season, while Brandon Borrello returns to the subs. He hasn't played since a hamstring injury against MacArthur on the 1st of November. So just over a month out of the squad for the Socceroos hopeful on this, the day of the World Cup draw. Wanderers huddling up, and Anthony Pandazopoulos there in the huddle. He has been the heart and soul player of Western Sydney this season, the lead character and antagonist in the derby last week. How about consistency? He's an Australia under-23 international, and the aspirations of moving perhaps into the senior team are only going to be stoked by his ongoing outstanding performances. Adam Griffiths has been one of the best dialer quotes in the competition this season. He's always got a one-liner ready, whether it is about football, his own prospects, or perhaps just life in general. He does have an eccentric view, but as long as you're winning, everyone's listening. And that was certainly the case for Alen Stajcic last week as well. His post-game rallying cry about positivity in the game in Australia went far and wide. Tonight's referee is Shane Skinner, assistants Ashley Beecham and Anton Shetternin, and the fourth official is Liam Barclay. Standing by in the VAR booth are Tim Danaskos and Hugh Fenton-White. So both teams have broken out of their huddles and are ready to go in double quick time. They're both eager to play, and why wouldn't they be? It is a couple of two-game winning streaks going head-to-head. Who will make it 3 in a row in the Isuzu UTE A-League Men's as Perth Glory hosts the Western Sydney Wanderers? And Phil Moss, a bit of late-night Perth is perhaps the game of the weekend, or one of them, because there's so much to like about these two teams.
Certainly is, Teo. Great to be alongside you. Perth at home, late night, never let us down, do they? There's goals, 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 and we're expecting or hoping for the same tonight. Both sides only tracking at 1 goal per game over the season, 6 and 6, but certainly a lot on the line tonight. And if Perth Glory can go the three-peat, then really, how is the club going to turn their back on giving the job permanently to Adam Griffiths? While Alen Stajcic, well, he said it doesn't matter if it's a Sydney derby or we're playing in front of 500. I want the same mindset from his players.
We saw Matt Sutton come out of his line early, the Perth goalkeeper, to make one clearance, and the entire defence is getting set to drop back here and wait for Wanderers to build an attack. Josh Brillante and Steven Ugarkovic getting early touches along with Božidar Krajev. Visiting Wanderers, not much to intimidate them about Perth away in recent seasons. Having a reasonably good head-to-head record in recent times. As Bonity strokes the ball back to the centre of defence. Pandazopoulos over to the right, maybe overhit the pass. It's going to be kept in effectively initially, but then runs away from Costa Barbarouses. Evergreen at the spearhead of the attack, and like many Kiwis, he'll be sweating on that World Cup draw overnight as well. Of course, a key member of the All Whites.
Yeah, the excitement building overnight, 4 a.m. our time. We'll know, just after 4 a.m. our time, we'll know who we've got in the 2026 World Cup. Tony Popovic and his staff are all over there, awaiting the draw, and I think it's going to be hosted by Heidi Klum, so plenty of glamour.
Of course, the outside possibility, if you run the numbers of Australia, getting New Zealand, which would certainly be an interesting wrinkle for the remainder of the A-League season. As we see clearance here from Lawrence Thomas, and there is Costa Barbarouses asking for a handball, not being given. Charbel Shamoon gets a touch. Scott Wooden, game 101 after a victory in game 100 last weekend. Perth are trying to win 3 in a row for the first time since May 2021. Came in a 4-game winning streak. That was when Richard Garcia was at the helm. So it's been a while, Mossy, since Perth won 3 in a row. And I mean, I'm trying not to say it patronisingly, to say rarefied air, but given the trials of the club in recent times, it is rarefied air to come in on a 2-game winning streak.
Yeah, it certainly is. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the statistics don't lie, do they, over the last few seasons? But certainly, and you and I were on comms for their game last week against MacArthur, and I certainly saw some real togetherness on the field before the game, off the field, in the dressing room as I walked past in the tunnel. So certainly Adam Griffiths starting to put his mark on this squad, stepping up, of course, from being the assistant to the interim coach is never easy. Certainly making a fist of it.
Trent Osler bending one down the right sideline. Returned in the air. Kriev, Thurgate. Charging up is Wooden with a clearing header. Interesting you mentioned Alan Stadgett wanting the same level of application, a derby level of application. This is a bit niche, Mossy, but the last time the Wanderers won 3 in a row, but one of the 3 was a Sydney derby, is 2019. So often the emotional letdown of coming out of a derby, win or lose, we'll come back to that because Perth might be about to capitalise here. It's Jaden Kaczarski making a run, and he had eyes for goal only, perhaps ignoring on his outside the run of Seb Despatovski.
Well, that's one part of the commentary on that move there, but the other part is Gabby Clure. He absolutely threw himself at that strike from Jaden Kaczarski. Wonderful defending by the Western Sydney fullback.
Now Tom Lawrence, the man to make things happen for Glory in recent weeks. Will Freeney, and now Shamoon. Lawrence trying to make a run, dealt with by the Wanderers' defence. Freeney following up. And it's good defending from the front from Alu Kual, and he was able to win a foul. But yes, back to that point about just how taxing both physically and emotionally the Sydney derby is. Wanderers have not had a 3-game winning streak with a Sydney derby in it since pre-COVID.
Yeah, it's an amazing statistic, and not overly surprised because having been part of Sydney FC, so part of the Sydney derby back in 2018, 17, 18, it really does, there is a different feel to it. You know, coaches will try and play it down as another game, not the same intensity, but there is definitely a different feel, different build-up, emotion on the night, the atmosphere on the night from both sets of supporters. And it is a real challenge to back up the following week.
Crossfield passes invited Perth on here, and now Despatovski, who is perhaps at his most effective defending from the front, is trying to trap Thurgate and Simmons, and now Kriev, handful of his jersey from Osler, but the referee lets it go. Another errant clearance is picked off by Freeney, the square ball. Shamoon getting forward. Can he make it goals in consecutive games? He can't. He might be in good form, Charbel Shamoon, but didn't pull the right lever there.
No, him and Jaden Kaczarski just got their wires mixed up. Kaczarski looked as though he was going to make a forward run as the ball falls kindly for Shamoon, and then Kaczarski checks off. By that stage, Shamoon's head was down. He'd made his decision. It was a sharp transition nonetheless from the home side.
Barbarouses tried to fashion a back heel, but it was picked off. Adam Griffiths in the suit in consecutive games is on his feet in the technical area, giving positional instructions to players and watching on keenly. Of course, Alan Stadgett back at HBF Park. He was the Perth Glory coach for a couple of seasons, overseeing some of the very memorable wins in recent years, the late drama, the big comebacks. was happy to stand off and let Perth possess the ball in their defensive third, but you just see as they creep into midfield, the likes of Thurgate and Kraev, they all get interested in the press.
Yeah, they set their trap, don't they? They defend in a 4-4-2 with Barbarouses and Alu Kuol up front, and they just invite Perth into that midfield area, and then they press together.
Right as you were pointing it out, Mossy, Thurgate swept in, took possession away. The Wanderers are happy to retreat into their defensive half. Get a feel for play as well, and aggressively leading the press here. Adam Taggart commits a foul on Bonatic, who is playing his 50th game tonight, the 23-year-old.
And right back at you, say Perth Glory, they're defending a 4-4-2 as well. Two Banks and the front two in Lawrence and Taggart. As the home side, you can bet that they'll press a little bit higher than the visitors.
Another misplaced pass out from defence, and it could be coming back with some interest here. Underlapping run is promising for the Glory. Isuzu clears initially, but the build-up continues from Shamoon. Thurgate back to help out, just looking for anywhere to clear the ball. Wooden well placed, as is Kaltak. However, Ugarkovic comes through and saves the day for Western Sydney, and now defence might turn into a slingshot attack to the other end. Simmons just wants to calm things down, as does Ugarkovic. Despatovski with a long diagonal ball over the head of Barbarouses. Just nudged underneath it ever so slightly by Trent Osler. He uses Kaltak now. Despatovski and Bozanovski. Taggart claiming he was fouled, but only a throw-in coming Perth Glory's way. Around the corner. Barbarouses was trying to trap an awkward ball. As Freeding took it off his feet. Kaltak clearing from down next to the corner flag, and the referee says that bent out of play. Wanderers ball. Hayden Simmons on a venturing run. Tries to take on Osler, not letting the nutmeg happen. Osler finds Taggart. Now Kacharski in the middle. Can he skip around Kleur? Not quite. Kleur stays goal side. Bozanovski. Kacharski roaming to the wing. Tries to bend it into the path of Taggart. It'll set up kindly for Thurgate. Two players wiped each other out in the afters. Thurgate adjudged to have been fouled.
Yeah, he just caught him a little bit late there, Jaden Kacharski, but there's been a good intensity to the opening 10 minutes of this encounter. Both sides have looked reasonably sharp in transition, moving the ball quickly when they win it.
Ball from the centre of defence straight onto the head of Kaltak. The battle begins. Lawrence, Shamoon, Bozanovski. To Osler on the right. A couple of touches for him in this phase, but that's a deflected pass off Kraev. It's going to fall kindly for Quollen. He sets away Brillante. Barbarouses, he pulls up, not quite able to accelerate onto the ball, maybe the way he would have hoped.
No, Brillante just asked a bit too much of his number 9 there. He broke again in transition for Western Sydney with a good press. A little bit of sloppiness on the ball from Perth, but you can see there Brillante Just trying to slide it into a good area for Barbarousas' forward run. With the outside of his right foot, he just had too much weight on the pass.
He's more or less got happy memories of playing against every team in this league, Barbarousas. Of course you would if you have 100 career goals, but tonight is the 35th time he's played against Perth Glory. He's found the net 10 times over the course of his storied A-League career. Bouncing ball is awkward here. Sutton leading out head first. Thurgate. Qual a little bit of byplay to prevent Sutton immediately getting back on his line, but perhaps the Wanderers weren't to know. That was potentially a smart little move from Qual, but it's going to be a moot point because Perth have got the ball and they're going in the opposite direction. As runners break in the middle. Can Lawrence pick one of them out? A little drag step was clever. Shamoon getting forward. He dinks it up. Despatovski still looking for that first A-League goal.
Well, it's another sharp transition from Perth Glory. Tom Lawrence at the heart of it, of course. Adam Taggart breaks forward with the ball. He's looking for an option. He plays it wide to Lawrence, who drives inside, brings Charbel Shamoon into the game, who picks out a reasonably good pass. And Despatovski just doesn't get enough on the header. It was at a pretty good height and a pretty good pace for him to go back across the goalkeeper, Thomas Lawrence, I should say. Doesn't get the right purchase on the header.
8th game tonight for Seb Despatovski. He's been ever-present this season. 7 of his 8 career appearances coming in this campaign after getting just a little taste. One appearance at the tail end of last season. See the energy he brings to the team, though, pressing from the front. How we would love that first A-League goal, though, to his name. Wanderers on notice. Glory are capable of breaking at speed. And look at this. They've moved all the chess pieces up the board here, trying to press Wanderers deeper and deeper. Will that suit Western Sydney with the outlet pass? Qual brings it down. Barbarousas not able to do much with it at ground level.
Well, Despatovski pressed from outside to in then, and he ended up all the way over the left-hand side of the field from the right wing position. And what it did was just strangle Western Sydney Wanderers in possession. Perth won it back. Didn't amount to anything on that occasion, but it's a smart press, very coordinated, honed on the training pitch, no doubt.
See the golden boots of Tom Lawrence leading the line, and Taggart getting interested. Kaczarski's turn now. Thurgate. So Taggart right on his case. Brillante presents for the ball in just the slightest pocket of space. Wanderers are going to find their way into attack. Klur to Ugarkovic. He's able to travel with the ball. Sutton parries away, but he did so to the safety of a teammate in Freeney. Despatovski back helping out. Freeney took a little bit of a risk there, opening up into the centre of the pitch. Almost ran himself into a 50-50, but all's well that ends well as Despatovski wins a foul.
Well, the crowd are right into this game. We've spoken about the intensity. There is plenty of physicality as well in these challenges. We see that ball whipped in. Matt Sutton had to deal with it. It was at a nagging length for the goalkeeper. So the safe option was to punch it clear, which he did. But something is bubbling just under the surface here between these two sides.
See, both teams have had an equal shot at trying to dictate the game through 16 minutes. Freeney. It's going to bend along the line and stay in. To be retrieved by Klur. Freeney a little overzealous. This has crashed through Ugarkovic here. Brillante perhaps asking Shane Skinner about the first card of the game, and there it is, out of the pocket. So the youngster, Will Freeney, will have to watch his step. The 20-year-old is in the book.
Yeah, you certainly can't argue with referee Shane Skinner there. Freeney really gave him no option. He was very late And those ones don't tickle. You see Garkovic back on his feet, but no doubt he's ended up with a little bit of a knock there.
Freddie's best position is a point of debate for the dedicated Glory fans. We've primarily seen him in A-League games in a more creative attacking role. Stajic looking unmoved at the moment with his assistant Nahuel Arate, I should say, sitting alongside him. Nahuel Bernardo will be playing in the Australian Championship final tomorrow. Mossy, too many balls juggled in the air at present. Right now, the focus is entirely on this one, which is slowly working itself out. Neither team definitively on top.
But it is great to see a couple of famous Australian club names in that Australian Championship final tomorrow. South Melbourne and Marconi Stallions. All the best to the respective clubs and their supporters, players and coaches.
Matt Sutton picked up his first clean sheet for the Glory and his first clean sheet in 9 last weekend. Relishing the opportunity to continue his career after the hibernation of Western United. Wooden's header. Straight to the feet of Brillante, but he can't pick out Kraev. Kucharski sends it out to Osler on the right. Despatovski happy to go back to Kaltak. See Sutton not afraid to roam out of his penalty area. Qual keeping him honest. Clearance is a good one though. Finds Shamoon. Now Kucharski. Lawrence. He's got a good link up with Shamoon already in this game. Those two seem to have a good understanding of where the other one is moving.
It's good to see Tom Lawrence back up after last week and start another game. Alan Griffiths at full time in the post-match interview was saying that Lawrence and Adam Taggart have got so much more growth as a partnership in them, and it really excites him as he works with them every day on the training pitch. We're starting to see it come to fruition on match day as well.
The other thing is that Glory, with 3 home games in a row, will be spending almost a month without having to jump on a plane. So anyone who's been carrying, as we see offside here, anyone who's been carrying a knock or a minor issue that might be exacerbated by flying isn't going to have to worry about it for an extended length of time. First offside of the game, and now Wanderers looking to capitalise on possession, but the double team of Despatovski and Kaltak succeeds in extracting the ball. The referee takes evasive action. And Perth now breaking into open space. Listen to the urging of the crowd for Shamoon to get forward, even though Wanderers are set behind the ball. Freeney, the body language tells the story. Doesn't like any of the passes on offer.
Well, it's a credit to Western Sydney, isn't it? How quickly they all got behind the ball, got into their defensive structure, gave away no space between the lines. Really cut off the options for Perth Glory very quickly.
Thurgate with a bit too much physicality on Lawrence.
You could see what he was trying to do there, Tom Lawrence. Very clever. Just used the pace of the pass to flick it round Thurgate. The ball ended up ricocheting into Thurgate. He was already too physical in the contest for Shane Skinner's liking.
See Taggart trying to lead the press here as Wanderers take a short goal kick. Thomas hurried into the pass, which proved difficult to trap there for Kleur. So Taggart saw the moment to go, and it's resulted in Glory winning a throw-in level with the penalty area. And Shamoon will take, flicking it not quite into a gap, intercepted by Ogarkovic. Volante happy to go to his centre of defence. Pandazopoulos and Bonatic, Simmons, Volante. That was going to be a sharp pass, and he's coughed the ball up. Taggart here, and the call came from Kucharski. It's gone well wide of the target in the end, though.
Well, I think it was the right option from Adam Taggart because his body shape just wasn't right for the strike. As we see once again, Perth just forcing the error with the way they're pressing Western Sydney, and you can see he just wasn't right for the shape on the shot. Adam Taggart, he does the right thing and puts it perfectly weighted into the path of Kucharski. I think he tries to be too cute there, into Kucharski, I should say. I think he just needs to get that on target, and it's in the back of the net. Fantastic chance for the home side.
And now a long goal kick is Wanderers' response. Took off the ball up a moment ago. Straight to Osler. He breaks wide. Barbarousis is able to harry him and the ball out of play. So about a quarter of the way through this match. Scoreless so far, for those of you who are with us on the doubleheader, having seen Macarthur and Melbourne Victory have a scoreless draw earlier in the night. Hopefully this one has whet your appetite that maybe goals are on the way at some point this evening.
Well, that's a result. It does neither Macarthur nor Melbourne Victory any favours. I think that's the fourth straight game that Melbourne Victory have failed to find the back of the net. And pressure building even more so on the big club.
Osler, Despatovski, Quoll put a foot on the ball. Despatovski has gone and won it back, taking exception to Bojidar Kraev's afters, but both teams quickly minds back on the job. Perhaps helps that it was within earshot of Alan Stajic right there at the edge of his technical area as far as Kraev was concerned. Counter-attack high and hopeful. Bozanovski sees an opportunity, switching from right to left. Shamoon. Freeney. Bozanovski to Osler. Lawrence, he's just drifting wherever he's needed, Lawrence. First time we've seen him pop up on the right. Second ball's on here. Freeney at the edge of the area. The scoop pass. And at close quarters, it's been blazed over the bar by Taggart. Really good chance for Perth again. Well,
I think you've got to put that down to some good defending from Alex Bonatic, as the ball's whipped in by Lawrence and then played square on the edge of the box and flicked through. Taggart shows great pace off the mark, and it's a wonderful piece of defending by Bonatic. He just throws everything at it. The deflection takes a decent strike from Adam Taggart to the safety of the air over the crossbar for a corner.
That last replay in particular really showed how important it was to sending it high. And so here's the resulting corner. Lots of intense man marking going on inside the box. Take it easy is the shout from referee Shane Skinner. Lawrence wants to take this corner kick. First of the night for either team. An in-swinger falling at the far post. And it will be consecutive corners for Perth.
Well, this all came, and you called it, Teo, as we see the delivery from Lawrence once again to that back post area, looking for Wooten. It's well defended, but Tom Lawrence has got that ability and that awareness of knowing when to stay high, when to drop off the front line, when to pick up pockets in wide areas. And it all started from his drifting out wide right and then whipping in a really dangerous cross.
And thus he has been entrusted to take corners from both sides here. Outswinger and volleyed wide. Was allowed to fall to Taggart. He didn't have much time to adjust the body position, and it was almost sent back from whence it came.
Well, again, good delivery, Thomas. Look at that. Some top spin on it. Adam Taggart just couldn't quite control his half volley, as Brian Kaltak took away a couple of defenders and cleared the space for the ball to land at Taggart's feet. It just sends Perth Glory starting to huff, starting to puff.
That's the sort of chance where XG might be quite misleading, because ultimately it's Adam Taggart unmarked in the penalty area. What it maybe doesn't factor in is just how difficult a volley or half volley that was to execute on the pitch map. It looked like he had a shot in prime position in the box.
Yeah, that's right. No, they're extremely hard to control, those half volleys coming at you at pace, dropping over defenders' heads.
Clever from Barbarousis. The quick free kick very much on. Glory have stacked the defensive penalty area. Thurgate hangs it high. And Sutton did put fingertips on it. He protests, but first corner for Wanderers coming up.
It was Thurgate with the deep delivery to the back post. You can see there, and I think Sutton gets some fingers to that. He's got to do the right thing and make sure that it's tipped away to safety.
So Perth's first two corners caused some concern. What can Wanderers come up with? Quoll was flying. Followed away by Ostler. Straight onto the head of Thurgate. Quoll again. Barbarousis. He's out-wrestled by Shamoon. Assistant referee's flagging over on the outer side, but for offside.
Yeah, I think it was Barbarousis offside from Alu Quoll's flick on. Gee, he gets some good hang time, doesn't he, Quoll? He got up so early then. And stayed in the air to win this header. There it is right there. Gee. Not sure on that angle whether Barbarousis was offside. He amounted to nothing anyway, but I'm sure the assistant referee got that one right at that angle.
I guess the flag didn't go up until the ball had already been cleared out of the penalty area, so it's not like it short-circuited an attacking move that was unfolding for the Wanderers. You're right about, I think we might have two of the best vertical leaps in the league going head-to-head tonight, with Brian Kaltak up against Alu Quoll. Shallow touch here. Leaves Taggart in possession. Now Despatovski blocked immediately off the boot. The blinkers on there, and Aidan Simmons combined with Thurgate to take possession away.
Yeah, that was an example of youthful exuberance from Despatovski. The shot was never on there. There's too many defenders around him. I mean, best served to hold on to it, look for another option.
Another turnover here, and Simmons with physicality. Ball continues to slide through the penalty area. Kacharski, and in! Seb Despatovski! What a moment for this Glory youngster! Wanderers protest, but the son of a gun is off the mark in the A-League.
Well, what another moment in Perth colours for the Despatovski family. This time it's Seb Despatovski who gets himself on the end of probably a missed kick from Jaden Kacharski. They won't care at all on the Harvey Norman replay. Again, Perth Glory win the ball in transition, cause problems for Western Sydney Wanderers, and there it is from Kacharski. Wasn't the cleanest of strikes, but Despatovski was Johnny on the spot to tap it home with his head for the go-ahead goal for the home side.
And his very famous father, who of course was an NSL champion, a Johnny Warren medalist, possibly, if not inarguably, the greatest Perth Glory player ever, and scored more than 100 goals in the purple of Perth Glory. Well, his son is off the mark, and what a special moment that is.
It certainly is. The family will be bursting with pride, no doubt. He's someone who had the privilege of playing against Bobby Despatovski. Doesn't bring back the fondest memories, having to mark him, because he usually ended up on top. Just a wonderful moment for all the family, Perth Glory fans, and of course Seb himself.
Wanderers looking for an instant reply, and Ostler could be in big trouble here. He fouled Simmons. Goodness me, is that a card for simulation? Confusion reigns. Trent Ostler's only just got back up. He's not sure what the verdict was.
Well, it's onside. Gee. It's hard to make anything out of that. It was clumsy. There was contact, there's no doubt. But who is Shane Skinner booked? I don't think there's an argument here for last man. There's enough bodies around it at first glance.
Yeah, the way this is shaping out, I do apologise. It looks like it has to be a yellow for a Glory defender because it's a free kick for Western Sydney.
That's right.
And it can only be for Trent Ostler because it's he who falls here and catches there, perhaps the ankle of Aidan Simmons.
Yeah, well, it can't be last man because Brian Kaltak is on the spot to help out. But I think Ostler trips himself up and then gets contact with the attacking player. Brings him to ground.
So the wall's getting set. Ostler's in the book.
Well, I think he had to be booked because it broke the attack. It broke a very promising attack, but I don't think there was anything intentional in it from Ostler. Not that intent is part of the referee's decision-making.
So, Glory have set a wall. Ugarkovic and Panasopoulos stand over the free kick. See Thurgate hiding out on the left. It's Ugarkovic into the wall. And the cheers of the shed reflect that Perth Glory's defence has stood strong. Header from Shamoon. Wanderers will be well aware of how Perth stung against MacArthur on the counter-attack last week. They want to strike in the other direction. Kraev goes to ground. And it won't be 2 free kicks in a row in dangerous positions. Instead, it's a cause to go and chase for the Glory down the other end. And Lawrence Thomas comes out of his line to clear. Perth are hustling. They can sense the chance to stretch the game here. Shamoon has attracted 2 defenders this time. But it will be a Perth throw. Shamoon. Watches the run of Lawrence. Can't find him this time. Quoll up against Kaltak. Ran into a brick wall there in Kaltak. Kraev nudging Despatovski under the ball. Tag it though. Glory stay on the attack. Head down from Bosanovski. And he's able to draw a save out of Lawrence Thomas.
Oh, this is exciting football. It's end-to-end at the moment. The intensity hasn't dropped off one bit. In fact, it's probably even lifting. In a game that really is a game of transition for both sides. But it's Perth that are looking more dangerous when they win the ball. Western Sydney have had a couple of opportunities to punch holes in the Perth Glory defence. Free kicks is the best they've done out of it though so far.
Kacharski went looking for the defence splitting pass, but Thurgate stopped Adam Taggart, stealing the ball away. Brillante. Simmons saw the run of Thurgate, touching it on for Ugarkovic. Barbarousis, return ball. Lawrence put a foot on it. Wanderers trying to keep the attack going. Bosanovski's turn. Glory can't come away with possession. Kraev. Either Kleur was moving forward on the right. He's got Shamoon for company. Back to Ugarkovic. Kleur. Thurgate out to the right flank. We know he can whip them in. Tumbling on for Quoll. Protected the fall of the ball well. Kraev tried a shot on side. Immediately blocked. And Scott Wooten did the rest. Kraev turning. And over the challenge of Kacharski. He goes. Free kick in a very similar position to only a handful of minutes ago.
Well, it's a good passage from Western Sydney, even though they didn't create a clear-cut chance. They kept the pressure on Perth Glory. some sustained pressure in that top third, and ultimately the pressure made Despatovski make a rash decision, bring down Kraev, free kick in a decent area.
So it was Agarkovic's turn on the first free kick. This is on a slightly more acute angle. 4 in the wall once again. This time they haven't put a sleeper lying behind the wall though. It's Pandazopoulos, who is fancying his chances. Pandazopoulos, it rears up off the wall and will spin out for a corner.
Well, that would have been one for the centre halves union. Pandazopoulos had gone and put that top corner. And now he's got a decent strike on him. The Wall doing their job once again for Perth Glory.
High floating corner and almost willed forward by Pandazopoulos. Kaltak crucial to foil Qual, getting a little goal-bound flick. Thurgate trying to outsprint Despatovski, puts it straight on the head of Shamoon. Couple of dinked headers on Barbarouses, Qual, and Shamoon able to knock the ball out for a throw. Perth making a big stand here in defence as Wanderers continue to apply pressure.
They are applying pressure, it's just not falling for them. A bit of credit has to go to Perth and their desperation defence inside their box. They just haven't found their combinations in and around the box, Western Sydney, yet.
We saw this as a Wanderers tactic last week, the long throw. Take breath from Pandazopoulos. Runs to the line and hurls it. Falling at the near post, Bonatic was his target. Thurgate follows up, Kraev. Hard to get the body position to fashion a volley there. It's at a really awkward height. Simmons backs his speed here, Aiden Simmons, and he is quick, able to burn off 2, and then through comes Osler, who's on a card. A yellow is out of the pocket here. My goodness, Perth Glory are down to 10 men, and Trent Osler is sent off.
Well, how a game can shift in the blink of an eye. Again, I don't think Shane Skinner has got any alternative there. Osler slides in, he's late. Aiden Simmons causes all sorts of problems with his pace down the left-hand side, and when you're on a yellow card, you cannot go to ground like that, Trent Osler. You are giving the referee a decision to make. I've got some doubt over whether his first one was a yellow card, but that one there is no doubt there was ever going to be any other outcome than a yellow card, and because it's his second, he's in the showers.
Both fouls on the same player, Aiden Simmons, getting the better of Osler, and his former coach Alan Stajic gives him a little low 5 as he heads down the tunnel. Here's the resulting free kick. Brillante swings it in. Can Wanderers make the most of these last 5 minutes of regulation before half-time? And this will be the sternest test yet of Adam Griffith's interim time in charge. He's chuntering away on the sidelines. But no doubt the brain will be thinking up whatever formation and plan to play with 10. His team is in the lead. And they're going to get organised here. This is a massive 4 minutes of regulation now before the half-time break. Wanderers were already on top. Square ball here, nearly inviting on Bozanovski, but Thurgate keeps the move going. Simmons, Kraev, promising run. Kraev lifts across. Klur back into the mixer and cleared by Freeney. And then Klur, that's really clever from Despatovski, just braced for impact and won the foul.
And really naive from Gabby Klur. The last thing his side needed was to give away a foul like that and just release the pressure valve that was building on Perth Glory. And as it stands, Despatovski's been shifted to right fullback, Lawrence to right midfield. This leaves Adam Taggart up on his own, so a 4-4-1 is the immediate response from Adam Griffiths with that red card.
And looking at the bench, they've got Josh Risdon, who's a fullback, Callum Timmins, a defensive midfielder, and then young Riley Fox, who's made one sub, which was all of about stoppage time a couple of weeks ago against Newcastle, the 19-year-old. He is a defender, like another son of a Socceroo, but it is not the deepest defensive roster for Glory on their bench, so the positional reshuffle might maintain for a bit.
Yeah, but the obvious is Josh Risdon, with his experience, he's a natural right fullback.
You see Despatovski up, affecting the header here. Glory through Bozanovski. Now Taggart. It's almost a throwback to previous seasons where he's the lone striker fending for himself all over again.
Yeah, it'll be really frustrating for Adam Taggart, for all Perth Glory players and coaching staff. That wouldn't have been part of their plan, but the question is, if you do bring a Risdon on, if you want to keep your two banks of four and your one up top, who do you sacrifice? Is it one of your front men? Is it Despatovski? That's the big question that Adam Griffiths will be mulling over in his head at the moment.
Brillante. Kraev, time to load up across to the penalty spot. Away by Freeney. And Zopoulos, a little shallow. Look at the desperation here from Perth. Kucharski wants to lead a counter. Lawrence is sprinting forward. Kucharski is going to go himself. His radar's been off so far tonight, though.
Well, he missed the chance there, Kucharski. Tom Lawrence had made a lung-busting run down the right-hand side. I thought Kucharski had the chance to slide it in between the last line and the goalkeeper, Thomas Lawrence. He held on to it and went for the shot himself, Kucharski. The opportunity was gone.
So, last minute of regulation at the end of what has been a captivating first half so far. Bonatic, Simmons. Inside for Kraev. Aiden Simmons again. Kaltak powerfully through, winning the header. Possession retrieved by Brillante. Barbarouses drifting out to the right wing. Kraev, Barbarouses leaves the ball with Kleur. And now Ugarkovic, wave after wave of players coming forward. And it was a tough finish in the middle for Qual, and it's been steered behind for a corner.
Yeah, and you can see Ugarkovic is disappointed with himself. He should have beaten the first defender there with that cross. He was into a good area. Ball was sitting kindly for him, as we see 2 minutes of injury time added.
Brillante wasting no time over the corner kick. Bonatic was his hope. It's going to fall. Ugarkovic into traffic, but he picked out the feet of Lawrence. Simmons, the man to make something happen. Ugarkovic is going to test his left foot here, and he wins a corner kick. There's an urgency to Wanderers' play. It's almost like it's the end of the game, and they're chasing parity before half-time here.
Yeah, they know how important a goal leading into the break would be for them. That could well break the spirit of the Perth Glory if Western Sydney were to score now.
Ugarkovic to the far post, and a good save by Sutton. He palms it over. It'll be a corner on the opposite side.
Well, what a header from Anthony Panazopoulos in the first instance. He gets up really well at the back post here. He's running backwards to meet that, and then he gets enough power on it to trouble Matt Sutton.
Now swinging from Brillante onto the head of Wooden. Ugarkovic. It's almost like he was hunting for a deflection rather than the target. Simmons. It's been a long 2 minutes of stoppage for the Glory. Wanderers still trying to create here, and the volley away. Got 30 seconds to load up. Make one more forward foray here, Western Sydney. They've got Glory pinned in defence. Thurgates, Barbarouses trying to find Thurgate with the underlapping run, and it will be a corner kick. The referee's going to give them time to take it here as stoppage expires. Barbarouses and Thurgate, they've overcooked it. Bozanovski makes a presence. Really well done by Reece Bozanovski.
Oh, that's a coach-killing moment right there. You've got a couple of seconds to go before the half-time whistle. Why you wouldn't just put the ball into the danger area from the corner?
Well, we could be set for something special here in the second half. We're going to learn so much about these two teams. Seb Despatovski's breakthrough A-League goal is the difference between the sides. There's been a red card since. Perth Glory are down to 10 men, but they have the all-important lead. Half-time at HBF Park, it's Perth Glory 1, leading the Western Sydney Wanderers 0. Stay with us, the halftime show is on the other side of this short break.
Hello and welcome back to the Hungry Jacks halftime show. We'll head back out to Perth soon for the highlights from that first half and the second half action between the Glory and Western Sydney. But Daniel McBride and Eric Partzaloo, let's take a look at some of the massive fixtures coming up tomorrow. We're going to start with the Kiwi Classico. Macca, is this the best time for the Phoenix to break their hoodoo against Auckland?
I think so. They've found it really tough going against Auckland in the derby so far. They did come home with a wet sail last time. They had a really good performance last week for most of the game. I'd say 75% of the game last week. They were pressing high. That high line was working because of the way they pressed in the game against Adelaide, and they got the result there. Auckland missing a few players in Sakai, Dan Hall at the back as well. Guillermo Mai was left out last week, so whether he's back this week, I think if there's a time for Wellington to finally register a point on this derby register, this is the time.
Yeah, and also I think it's Pinecker as well started from the bench in that game. So Steve Corica, obviously now this is the first time he's been under threat in terms of his home form, losing a game like he did against Newcastle, which is okay, it rained a lot and it sort of stopped them from coming back into the game. But you look at that Wellington Phoenix side, they've got real goal threats this year. It's not just Costa Barbarouses, it's Eze, it's Armiento, it's players that are getting forward and getting shots away at the end of the plays. And yes, the high line's talked about, but what it does is squeeze the team higher up, which allows more players to get forward. But they did get caught as well. Yeah,
the derby 3 weeks ago was epic. Hopefully it's the same tomorrow. The Jets were able to beat Auckland. That was a massive upset. Can they continue that momentum against the champions in Melbourne City?
They're back on track. It's great. Now they've got to go for back-to-back victories. And against the Melbourne City side that maybe you could say is stuttering, drawing a lot of games, coming back through Asia, I think this is going to be a key game for Mark Milligan because I don't think he's changed too much in his approach, and I don't think he will, or should he, because it's working, and particularly at home with these young guys. Dobson's playing out of his skin at the moment. I thought Costa Grozo's had one of his best games in Auckland, and that'll be key in the midfield.
Well, the thing is, for Newcastle, the key thing for them is to get consistency. And it's when you're playing this kind of football, going up and down can be the way. I think coming up against a Melbourne City team where Aurelio Vidmar would have said that's not good enough, Suprain, Ferreira, Kai Truan and Beats, they've got to get past to score goals. Yeah. I think this could be a real tough one again for Newcastle.
On Saturday night, Sydney FC's response against your old side, the Mariners, will be fascinating because they lost the derby and Ufuk Talai took off some of his big names early in the second half. Their triple sub were Piero Quispe, Alassane Toure were taken off, Campazano. He wasn't happy with his attackers, so the response will be really interesting.
It will be, and Uffy's another one who doesn't pull his punches, does he? We know that he's pretty honest in his assessment of games and his players as well. They played each other only a few weeks ago, and I thought Sydney FC were very dominant in that game. Nathan Paul might be out for the Mariners, even though Donachie's just come back. Now they might lose Nathan Paul, so that could be a big out for them. I think Sydney will be looking to rectify a poor performance last week, and I think they'll be too strong.
No doubt they're going to be hungry, but Mariners at home have shown they can keep teams out. They can keep clean sheets. They've got Donachie securing that back line now. Yeah, Tap we talked about. Moragas is having a great season. I'm loving watching him play go up and down. He'll be a real threat. The only question mark for the Central Coast Mariners now, where are the goals going to come from? It's been a big problem for them. But keeping clean sheets has not been. So, Redman at the back there is having a great season as well.
Big Saturday coming up. Right, let's get back out to the ground and all the first half action between the Glory and Western Sydney.
Big thanks to Garvey and the crew. Let's get into the Harvey Norman highlights. Phil Moss, plenty of action and an end-to-end first half.
It certainly was. That first half race by, and that's always a good sign, isn't it? But the intensity was good. Perth Glory causing all sorts of problems in transition. And that was another moment, and that was the go-ahead goal. Despatovski, a famous Perth Glory name, and that's young Seb's first goal in Perth Glory colours. I'm sure his family are very, very proud of that moment, as will the young Despatovski be himself, and how important that goal may be depending on how this game plays out with Perth Glory now at 10 men.
So that was on the half hour, Perth taking the lead. However, this was straight from kickoff, and it's Osler falling to the ground, catching the trailing leg of Aiden Simmons. Caltac prevents it being a red. VAR had a look for a little bit, but only a yellow initially, but no confusion over this. A second yellow, and that makes for a red card.
Yeah, that's right. If the first one was unfortunate, the second one was absolutely no choice for referee Shane Skinner. Osler knows it. He should never have gone to ground, especially knowing that he was on a yellow card already, and he'll be lamenting that moment, there's no doubt. Now his teammates have to go 45 plus injury time with 10 men.
So possession is 10% in favour of Western Sydney Wanderers. Do you think we're going to get like a 70-30 second half, Mossy? Are these numbers about to skew in an extreme fashion?
Well, that will depend on Adam Griffith's mindset and his messaging in the dressing room at half-time. I think we'll see Josh Risdon come out for this second half, and I think it might be young Despatovski that is sacrificed, unfortunately. But these things happen, and it just depends on Griffith's instructions to his team. I've got a funny feeling he'll stay on the front foot and be a little bit pragmatic, but stay on the front foot and go for the second goal with a 4-4-1.
So those are the numbers at halftime. It's a massive weekend of Isuzu UTE A-League, the second New Zealand derby of the season. The Kiwi Classico is coming up tomorrow. That was your Hungry Jacks halftime show.
The clock reaches 0 and we're underway. Jesse Randall, Cosgrove, 28 seconds. Here's his eye, biting back, and how? Randall bears down. Derby delivers yet again.
Watch and learn. Oh, I say it's incredible! Want to learn, 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 want to learn. It's my turn, want to learn.
HBF Park ready for a big second half. Josh Risdon comes on. Perth Glory perhaps understandably making a substitution after a first half red card for Trent Ostler. This was his second yellow. He started the game at right back and he saw a second yellow for that foul on Aiden Simmons. And so perhaps not surprising that Josh Risdon, the veteran former Socceroo right back, has been subbed on here for the second half for the Perth Glory. All in readiness to get this second half back underway. And the Western Sydney Wanderers, who will attack the right of your screens in the second 45, are behind 1-0. They were, in general play, dominant to end the first 45. And now we get to find out if they can break down the Glory, or if the Glory can hold on and win 3 games in a row in the A-League for the first time since May of 2021. Phil Moss, as you rejoin me, is the stage set any better for a bit more late-night Perth drama?
Yes, it is set, Teo, and it could be wishful thinking, but I actually feel something bubbling here. And what I really like about the half-time is that Adam Griffiths has sacrificed Jaden Kaczarski, not Seb Despatovski. And that's all due respect to young Jaden, of course. He did nothing wrong in that first half, but I think with Despatovski already on the score sheet, I think he's backing his confidence to maybe get them a second goal. And Tom Lawrence has been shifted out to the left-hand side of midfield with Adam Taggart holding that lone striker role. So it is a 4-4-1.
You'll see here the number 5 on the ball, Dylan Cicluna. He's come on for Josh Brillante at halftime. So a different midfielder. We saw Josh Brillante a little bit shaky in possession at times in the first half. We've got no reason to believe it's not a tactical change rather than anything injury related for Brillante. So Alan Stajic, he's been building up the minutes of Cicluna so far this season. As you can see, the teams out on the pitch appear on the screen in front of you. He's come on 7 times as a sub this season for 113 total minutes, Cicluna. So in his comeback from his ACL injury, they have slowly but steadily built up his minutes, and now he'll get 45 in a chunk right here with a big role to play, trying to keep Wanderers on top. But so far for Perth, a fairly comfortable 2 minutes that they've negotiated to begin the second half. No pretensions about a short goal kick from Matt Sutton. He drives it into his attacking half. Taggart competing in the air. Shamoon can't find a gap on the ground. Lawrence trying to shark the ball. Klur almost robbed of the ball by Bozanovski, but he's too overzealous. Wanderers want to take the free kick from out wide, but the referee will insist it comes back to the middle. So, Mossy, at the end of this phase of play, I'll get your thoughts on that first change from Wanderers. Cicluna on for Brillante, but then maybe your musings on what the next lever Wanderers pull should they still be trailing at, say, the 60-minute mark, and should Perth be able to get a real foothold in the second half and spend a good chunk of time playing 10 versus 11 while holding on to this 1-0 scoreline. At the moment, Glory in possession with Scott Wootton all the way back to his keeper in Matt Sutton. Kaltak. I imagine that won't be the last time we see him just clear the lines with a long ball. And Aiden Simmons, the player who Trent Ostler fouled twice to receive his 2 yellow cards in the first half, goes back to his goalkeeper, Lawrence Thomas.
You know, I'm just noticing that this run.
Kraev able to advance into the box. Božidar Kraev. Ugarkovic. And the cross, a teasing one through the 6-yard box, but no one really lunging after the ball. Simmons will go and retrieve. Keep the attack circulating for Western Sydney. Here's Cicluna. And Cicluna with a high, hopeful ball that's going to bounce out for a goal kick.
Yes, I think what Alan Stajic has done in the half-time break, and probably speaks to bringing Dylan Cicluna on, is playing Costa Barbarouses and Alu Qual together as a double-pronged strike force. So more of a 4-4-2 rather than the 4-3-3 he adopted from the start of the game. He knows he's got to find a way back in this game. He knows he's got to make the most of a numerical advantage. If you keep on doing the same thing over and over and expect a different outcome, know what that defines. He's made some tactical tweaks at half-time. And as for the second part of the question from the bench, well, the obvious answers would be a Mo Altay, a Brandon Borrello, to try and get his side back on the score sheet to level the score and then try and find a way to win it. But I like the way Perth Glory have come out in this second half. They don't look like they're taking a backward step at all.
And a long-range free kick here. Caltac has made a very late run to come down and join, as Lawrence aims for Caltac now, and off Bonatic, it will be a corner. So the late presence of Caltac, just enough to buy his team a corner kick.
He's such an imposing target, isn't he, Caltac? Wherever he goes, he attracts two defenders at set pieces. He's a real force to be reckoned with.
Tom Lawrence is taking his time to walk the ball down to the corner here, so Wanderers will be able to sort out their man-marking situation. I'm not surprised that it is Qual with Caltac, perhaps the one player that can leap with him in terms of springing height. Here's Lawrence's corner. It's driven. Caltac may have been the target, but Thurgate cleared. Freeney. Caltac, can he keep it in? Tag it! The whistle goes, the Sheds cheering, but Adam Taggart is not. And Caltac's header to retrieve it from beyond the line proves too much, and the afters unfold in front of us.
Well, the delivery was so deep, it's gone out over the byline before Caltac gets to it. I know that's a difficult angle to tell from, but you can sort of tell by the angle of Caltac's neck and where he connects with it. How he gets that back across goal is a freak of nature. But that's a moot point because the ball had already gone out, in my opinion.
Well, VAR agrees. Anton Shedinin is the assistant referee over on the far side of the pitch as well. Just imagine HBF Park, it's going to be lift-off if Perth do score a second goal and it stands.
Well, they didn't stop defending that situation, Western Sydney, but Perth got the better of them. The ball was in the back of the net, so that's a warning sign. And even with 10 men, they're going to pose some threats.
Shamoon. Ugarkovic takes over for Western Sydney. Simmons. Looking up at the goal scorer for Perth, Despatovski. Now Cicluna, he does like a long shot, but resists the temptation here. Klua, over the head of Kriev, over the head of everyone.
Well, there's another opportunity to put some real pressure on Perth gone for the visiting side. Klua disappointed with himself that he didn't get the execution right. And that will become more and more important as this game wears on, because the longer it stays this way, the more oxygen and energy Perth Glory will get from belief that they can go on and win this game. Western Sydney can't afford to waste opportunities like that.
Sutton restarts. Pavzopoulos, Klur, Ugarkovic with the return ball. Now Barbarousis into the middle for Kriev. Waiting for Simmons to make ground over on the left. 4 in the penalty area. Lawrence with a little bit of byplay. He grabbed onto a shirt there, and Gabriel Klur is saying to the assistant referee, is that not a sanction for how I was scragged off the ball? The end product was lacking on the eventual cross, but we know from Tom Lawrence's previous willingness to engage in a bit of skullduggery, he is not afraid of the dark arts. And you see there, he dragged Klur to the ground.
Well, they've missed it, the officials. In my opinion, that's a 100% foul. I think Alan Sturgis may have seen it as well, judging by his body language.
I reckon someone by the name of... We'll come back to that in a moment, because Adam Taggart is pressing here. Despatovski and now Clerc. Think back to 2 weeks ago, Newcastle playing against Perth Glory. Alexander Shuzhniak got literally nose to nose with Tom Lawrence after Lawrence had reached out and just grabbed his ear for no reason other than to wind him up. And you feel as though he just picks his moments ever so cleverly to get under the skin of people. He's under the skin of Clerc, he's under the skin of the Wanderers bench. Anything to break the concentration and the application of Western Sydney as they attack with a man advantage. But that is exactly what they're doing right here, attacking with that man advantage. Thurgate, Simmons. Vital one-on-one defending from Risdon, the half-time sub for the Glory. He's done well to win a throw-in. The veteran Risdon now of 284 A-League games.
Yeah, it's a pretty good sub to bring off your bench, isn't it? Josh Risdon for Adam Griffiths. We went down to 10 men. Pretty sure he made that decision very quickly that Risdon would come on it right back.
Adam Griffiths opening the eyes, stretching the muscles in his face, living the experience. There's a real tension in the game at the moment. Bosanovski bursting, fouled. And Steven Ugarkovic is going to go in the referee's book. Yellow card for the Wanderers midfielder.
It was a good burst from Bosanovski, drawing the foul from Steven Ugarkovic. Another player into the book of referee Shane Skinner.
Here's Despatovski working over on the right wing. Now Freeney. 1-2 with Risdon. Despatovski. Risdon. A deft touch. Despatovski. Back to Risdon. He's got a little bit of space here. A cross in and held on one bounce by Lawrence Thomas.
Panazopoulos does well there to get his body in between the ball and Adam Taggart, who was trying to get onto that decent delivery from Josh Risdon. Was whipped into a dangerous area with real pace and intent. Panazopoulos using his body well to allow the ball to fall into the palms of Lawrence Thomas.
Cicluna. Bonatig. Shamoon's header. And he's not going to be able to chase it down before the line. Just like that, Mossy, we are getting close to the hour mark, and so the yellow card perhaps enough for Alan Stajic to pull the rein of Aidan Hammond. He's coming on. Ugarkovic leaves the game. And Hammond hasn't scored this season. His last goal was back in March. And it was against the Perth Glory, and a double at that. That's exactly what Wanderers would love right now. 2 goals against the Glory. Panazopoulos with a long throw. Kaltak able to read a bouncing ball. First time strike from Simmons into the traffic and blocked away, and Hammond will watch it roll over the line.
When was the last time we saw a centre half take set pieces from outside the box and long throws?
He's got quite the toolkit, Anthony Panazopoulos. The question is, will it be in service of creating a goal? Long throws from both sides of the pitch. This one comes up a little bit short. Can't beat Risdon as the near man. Thurgate tries to keep it all inside the penalty area, and Bosanovski bends it out on the opposite side of a pitch for another Wanderers throw.
Surely he's not going to take a long throw from this side. He'll just be doing doggies side to side, Panasopoulos.
Third man to find a leg in perpetuity. As we see, he's on a more defensive role now. Simmons. And Qual, that's a header on target, but hard to generate the power and the placement from that far away, even north of the penalty spot. And easy pickings for Sutton. So an hour is ticked over.
Yeah, and there's a delivery from Simmons. Qual gets up well. As you quite rightly pointed out, just couldn't get the power on it to really trouble Matt Sutton. Minute by minute, it's ticking away. The clock is not against Western Sydney yet. Won't be long before we venture into that territory.
Speaking of the ticking clock, as you can see there, tomorrow's New Zealand derby. Don't miss the Kiwi Classico on Paramount Plus. Auckland at home against the Wellington Phoenix. Sapluna. Bonatic. Driven cross, and that was a sharp header from Costa Barbarouses, requiring a save from Sutton.
Sharp header, sharp save. Matt Sutton, he had to get down quickly. He would have seen it late as well as the cross comes in from the left-hand side. I think there's a deflection there as well. So Matt Sutton has done really well. And then Alu Qual following up on the back post couldn't quite wrap his foot around it enough to force at least a second save. As we see Despatovski, who I did notice was limping a little bit earlier in this second half. Looks like he's grabbing his calf or maybe Achilles tendon.
So if he's not able to go on, they've got the young winger Kwano, defensive midfielder Callum Timmins, midfielder Nicholas Pennington, young centre-back Riley Fox. I doubt we will see Gabriel Popovich. There is Pennington. He's been the hero the last couple of weeks. He scored the match-winning penalty against Newcastle. He scored the first goal against MacArthur last Sunday. Still not enough to get into the starting 11. Looks as though he is going to come on for an extended cameo here. The board goes up, and even though Seb Despatovski is yet to completely cross the line, hopefully that injury is not so serious that it rules him out for an extended length of time. As we take a look at the phase of play where perhaps this game could be decided. Jaden Kacharski's shot onto the head of Seb Despatovski for his very first A-League goal. His evening is over and Pennington is on.
Yeah, he certainly can be happy with his first half output. Seb Despatovski, of course, as we just saw, got the go-ahead goal for his side. A relieving moment, a famous moment. And he did look like he was struggling a little bit with his movement right from the start of the second half, so I wonder if he was carrying something into the half-time break or whether that appeared during the second half. Nevertheless, Nick Pennington into the game.
Pass intercepted here by Freeney. Sets Lawrence a task wide on the left. Lawrence, good close control. To lose the attention of two opponents and reset. Bosanovsky's got to be careful here, but he had Scott Wootton back in position to be able to watch the ball roll out before Alu Qual could make a run at it. Smattering of applause you hear as Despatovski now making his way around to the bench, slowly but surely. Throwing nearly set Lawrence away. Taggart riding the back of Thurgate, who was able to protect the ball and sent it out to Simmons. Simmons still buzzing down that left side, hoping his burst of pace can open the Glory defence. Bonatic. Simmons caught behind Risdon on this occasion. Sutton clears. Panasopoulos. Clue. Step overs from Hammond, but then he misses his teammate with the pass. Found only Adam Taggart instead, and he's a lone hand here, and he's not going to give up on chasing. Adam Taggart can't keep it in. And had he done so, Nicholas Pennington, with fresh legs off the bench, was bursting forward in the middle.
Yeah, what a lung buster from Adam Taggart. And he's remonstrating here with the referee because he believes it was a throw-in from his side. I think he's got a decent argument there.
Sapluna, who was the player that was pursuing Adam Taggart, was just a little bit sore getting up. Adam Griffiths continues to protest with Liam Barclay, the fourth official.
It's hard to see from whether it comes off the Western Sydney foot or the Western Sydney foot pushes Adam Taggart's foot into the ball. If that was the case, it should have been a foul. Nevertheless, Western Sydney with the ball. I think they've got to do a bit more, particularly in transition, to attack Western Sydney. I think they've got to get in behind Perth quicker. They seem to get into those areas and then come back out. That allows Perth Glory to get set and defend the situation.
Every misplaced pass, every time it's repelled, Perth can hit on the counter. Pennington couldn't do it 3 games in a row, could he? Not this time. Kryev to Simmons. I think, further to your point, Mossy, are they doing enough on the right side to keep Perth guessing? Because, yes, Simmons has got a good combination over on the left side to get in behind, but have we seen enough through the right side of the pitch to create a similar level of threat when they look to the width?
Yeah, well, the answer's no. They haven't really caused too many issues down the side of Charbel Shamoon.
Sure enough, after a quick look at the right side, it's over to the left again. Thurgate, Simmons. Plays stationary inside the penalty area. Now the defensive line for Perth moves up ever so slightly. Pandazopoulos just kept going further and further wide after it left the boot. We're going to see Brandon Borrello back in the Isuzu UTE League for the first time since the 1st of November. He's been out with a soft tissue injury, a hamstring. He's on for Alu Kuol, so there won't be goals in consecutive games for the Sydney Derby hero. The Socceroos hopeful Borrello comes on for his 4th appearance of the campaign. Can he be the catalyst that gets the goal for Western Sydney Wanderers and allows them to turn thoughts of an equaliser into thoughts of winning? Simmons up for the header. Sakluna on the way back to his keeper. Club. Pass difficult for Hammond, but he's got a bustling nature which helps him win the ball. Borrello first touch off the bench. Straight onto the head of Kaltak. Hammond making a presence and doing so effectively. Spilled the ball to Borrello. Now Thurgate with a run down the right. Borrello tucks it inside. Hammond. Sakluna. And Kryev. Heard the shout from Simmons. Couldn't quite set him into the penalty area though. Kryev touched back. Thurgate. And the shot at the end of the chain just kept rising over the bar from Club.
Well, that's better, even though it didn't end up in the back of the net. For Western Sydney Wanderers, the sustained pressure led to a shot on goal, even though it wasn't on target. That will give them some confidence that they can punch some holes in this Perth Glory defence. As resolute as it's been, they can keep that sort of pressure on, and that will lead possibly to a crack. Borrello looked busy, didn't he? Straight from the off as soon as he came on, wanting to get on the ball, do what he does best in those advanced areas.
Spurs' one and only A-League goal in 58 games now. So we see him on the ball here. It was back in February against MacArthur. And Shamoon illegally contested within the air, according to the referee. This has happened right in front of the Wanderers bench. Aidan Hammond is nonplussed about the call. Here's another look. Coming in late. And Shamoon, a hit to the side. Favoured his arm as he's come down here, favouring his shoulder as well. Glory will be desperately hoping that this is perhaps a little bit of gamesmanship rather than an actual injury, because Shamoon's form has been outstanding.
Yeah, it certainly has. That was some heavy contact. Hopefully for Shamoon's sake that he's okay.
Hammond in the book, by the way, so referee Shane Skinner has produced another yellow card. And this would be a bit of a conundrum for Perth if they do lose their left back to a shoulder injury here, because it is going to have to be someone playing out of position. Maybe Risdon swapping over to left back, and then who do you put at right back would be the next question, with Seb Despatovski having left the game. There's our answer. It'll be potentially the 19-year-old Riley Fox. He's made just one appearance a couple of weeks ago against Newcastle. Here's another look at Hammond into the side of Shamoon. And the shoulder is what goes. See Adam Griffiths in the background protesting. Is Shamoon going to be able to continue, or is young Riley Fox going to have to come on here?
No sub change, just wait.
Fourth official, you might have been eavesdropping there, saying no sub. So Fox might return to the bench here. Well, drama, but ultimately Shamoon continues and Riley Fox goes and resumes his seat amongst the subs.
Nothing to see here. We will keep an eye on him though, because it was heavy contact and he's still holding that shoulder.
We'll wait and see what happens next time he has to break into a full sprint or go body-to-body defending. In the meantime, Lawrence is trying to find a corner, can only find a goal kick.
Yeah, different role for him tonight since the red card. Tom Lawrence having to occupy that left-hand side of midfield. With that comes a greater defensive responsibility.
Thurgate. And now Cicluna. It's not quite to the advantage of Simmons. He just had to backtrack a metre to keep the ball. Perth Glory set behind the ball. Hammond. Bonatic. Simmons. Blocked immediately by Pennington. And now Risdon combining with Pennington. He's able to win a throw.
Well, the key here is 16 or so minutes to go, plus injury time for Perth Glory. They can't afford to slip into a mindset of holding on and defending this lead. They need to keep playing. They've done it so well since they went down to 10 men. That is why they've been able to keep the score in the affirmative from their point of view.
Bonatic. Simmons. Turned away from the box by Pennington. Thurgate. And the spectacular attempted by Hammond, but he had to bail out of his attempted overhead kick. Despatovski in the meantime, and an arm over the shoulder. A foul with zero subtlety from Gabriel Clare. Perhaps reflecting the growing frustration out there for Western Sydney.
Yeah, that's right. That'll be manna from heaven for Perth Glory. Just eats up a little bit of time and does show a little bit of frustration starting to creep in to the Western Sydney psyche.
Every time the ball stops, I know Alan Stajic is protesting it from his technical area, but every time the ball stops, the Glory are winding that extra second off the clock. Matt Sutton here is going to take every possible opportunity the referee will afford him. Be interesting to see how studious the fourth official is tracking all of this on the sideline with 15 minutes of regulation to go. Glory fans in great voice. They've recognised their importance to encouraging on the home side here, not least because the shed is down the opposite end to that Glory are defending in the second half. So they need to make their voices heard here for the home side. Paterzopoulos, directionless as far as Wanderers are concerned. Straight to Risdon. Thurgate's going to track back. Cicluna. And Simmons' pass deflected out. Thurgate. Slight challenge from Risdon, was able to win the ball back.
You can see there Lawrence Thomas urging his players to move the ball quicker, move it side to side, open some space in midfield to then punch some holes in this Perth Glory defensive structure.
Hammond. Simmons sees Borello. Borello the step over. Cicluna didn't catch it the way he would have hoped. Scuffed straight into the ankles of Freeney. And then Taggart is not able to break away with the ball as he's committed a foul. And he's going to get himself in the book here. A technical offence for kicking the ball away. But the referee spot on to pay it.
Yeah, he had no choice. He had to book Adam Taggart for kicking the ball away. But I think that's a compound of his frustration from an earlier couple of incidents. Adam Taggart finally got the better of him.
So Taggart, the latest to receive a yellow card. Interestingly, no defensive wall here, or are they going to send out one? Yeah, Matt Sutton says one's enough. And it'll be you, Reece Bozanovski. Doesn't look like it's quite 10 yards either. Paterzopoulos doesn't care. He just wants to take the free kick. And he takes it short. Cicluna. And, well, a sneak attack of sorts there, but Matt Sutton saw it all the way.
You can call it a sneak attack. I'm going to call it a miss-hit. I think he was trying to lift that into an area for the runners to attack it. In the end, a very comfortable save for Matt Sutton.
Now, Glory have some numbers forward. Taggart waits in the middle. Shamoon broke into the box. Lawrence. Quick 1-2. Tom Lawrence. Linking up with Sharble Shamoon. Pennington had joined Taggart in the penalty area, but the cross didn't arrive thanks to the block by Hammond.
Gee, I thought he had the chance there, Tom Lawrence, to whip that in with his left foot. He brought it back onto his right, and by then the space had been closed down by Hammond. There were some runners, willing runners in the box. And Lawrence delivered that first time.
Shamoon, his turn to protect the ball. Freeney, Lawrence, Shamoon. Good link up between the trio. Eventually interrupted. But Wooten immediately keeps the ball back in Perth possession. Bozanovski. Shamoon. Taggart. Lawrence! Well, those are the sort of half chances that are going to be what Perth rely on if they do want to score a second, but it just bent the wrong way off his boot.
Well, his eyes lit up, but look at this for combination play from Perth Glory. So comfortable on the ball in tight areas. Their link-up play was very good. Taggart knew exactly where Lawrence was. And then the big Welshman's eyes lit up, but he didn't get the execution he was looking for.
Don't forget, next weekend, Perth Glory are back at home, and it's the visit of Sydney FC. 13th of December, which is a Saturday night, 9:40 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, 6:40 p.m. Perth time. Don't miss it. Cicluna, Simmons. We're into the last 10 minutes of regulation already. Feels like the game has flown by. May not feel that way for the Perth fans. Hammond, we know he loves his left foot, but he leaves it here for Clare. Deep on the right, Borrello, a deflected cross, and a brilliant save by Sutton. Cryer foiled at close range, and Matt Sutton with the save of the night so far.
What a reflex save that is. Cryer will be disappointed he didn't get different direction on that header. He really had most of the goal to aim at, and he puts it straight down the middle where Sutton was, but that is a very, very good reflex save by the Perth custodian.
So two more fresh players, Mo Altai and Ruan Tongic, come on. Double change to take this game into the last 10 minutes. It's Mo Altai's first game time of the season. He last played in April. Saw Hayden Simmons head to the bench there. As the corner is an outswinger, up and under. Difficult for Bonatig. Freeney's header away. Clare, Thurgate caught in possession. Despatovski like a terrier. We've seen the long throw already in this half from both sides. Pandazopoulos has got the energy to hurl it long again. Flick header. And then an up and under, and solid goalkeeping from Sutton. Able to bring the ball to ground. Interestingly, Wanderers subbing the sub with Dylan Cicluna coming off. We saw him pull up a little bit sore after that high-speed pursuit of Taggart, which led to great consternation over who had the throw-in earlier in the half. So hopefully it's not a serious injury. Maybe just a preference for another burst of energy from Mo Altai. Lawrence. Shamoon. Ball down the right end as far as Perth are concerned. Altai saying to the ref, pointing at the wrist. And now the ball is starting to go down to the corner. First time we've seen that used. The finish line is just starting to move into sight.